Metal blast doors clapped shut, sealing the corridor off from the transit hub. An alarm sounded as the Dreeden and human soldiers were stopped short at the blast doors. "Our charges won't be enough to get through these security gates." The Marine captain frowned. "We'll have to cut through, but that will take time." "No, Captain. Even if you manage to cut through the doors, the transit loop will still be locked down. I've got this." Nesh tapped at his holopad, then touched a stud at the side of his helmet. Lieutenant reeled. "Patch me through to Specialist Teal'c." Still standing on the hull of the Bonthan courier ship, Teal'c's tentacles danced inside his suit. Their movements were mirrored by delicate Waldos attached to his arms, typing furiously at the supercomputer strapped to his chest. Station diagrams flashed over its holoscreen until Teal'c found the one he wanted. Compared to the courier ship, assemblage security was child's play to bypass, thanks to the various backdoors that Teal'c had been able to insert into the station's code over the past 2 years, since he and the team had been deployed to the station. He was sure that his superiors would have not been happy knowing that he spent his spare time compromising assemblage security subroutines. But no one had told him not to, either. In moments, he had gained control of the security doors, the transit tube, and for good measure, all of the security cameras between the rescue party and the Bonthan embassy. "They're all clear, Lieutenant," he reported. "And assemblage security is blind along their route." "Good job, Specialist. Ambassador, you're clear to proceed." Built to accommodate species much larger than human or Dreeden, the transit cylinder fit the entire rescue party with ease, with only Nuria having to duck her head, entering the capsule. The cylinder will take 2 minutes to reach the inner ring, where the Bonthan embassy complex is located. The Marine captain punched in their destination on the console of the transit cylinder. "All security cameras are down along our route, but assemblage security will be on alert. Caden and Carlson, I want thermal smoke as soon as these doors open. Bing and Richards, get us eyes." 4 Marines took post at the doors of the transit cylinder, which smoothly accelerated down one of the assemblage's spokes toward the inner rings before slowing and then coming to a stop. As the doors opened, Nesh caught a glimpse of several Kurthan station security guards leveling weapons at the cylinder. "Smoke out." 2 Marines tossed small black canisters out the door. Once they had traveled 4 meters, both burst, dispersing aerosolized nanoglitter. Clouds of millions of tiny mirrored fragments hung in the air, completely blocking vision in or out of the transit car. Moments later, 2 Marines tossed ping-pong ball-sized spheres out the door. As soon as they cleared the Marines' hands, tiny router blades emerged from each one, and they shot up above the thick fog of nanoglitter. In Nesh's helmet, suddenly his view screens displayed another view of the battlefield as the camera drones networked with his suit. The Marines' underslung grenade launchers thumped again, and Nesh could see 2 more stun grenades burst among the Kurthan security team. Baden had told him that the Kurthan resembled a creature known as a giant sloth from the Earth's prehistory. Nesh had seen the pictures, but he wasn't convinced. 4 of the Kurthans had been rendered temporarily incapacitated by the flashbangs, but 1 armored Kurthan remained standing and let loose with the enormous flechette cannon that it carried. Hundreds of tiny projectiles shot toward the transit cylinder. Most impacted on the outside of the transit cylinder, but scores made it through the door, ricocheting harmlessly off armor and the interior walls. Carlson, armor-piercing rounds, disabling shots. One of the Marines near the door leaned out, firing a short burst from their heavy-looking rifle. Nesh knew that in the Marine's helmet, a reticle from their weapon would be superimposed on the image from the drones, allowing the Marine to aim without ever seeing their target. 3 rounds impacted the Kurthan's shoulder, spinning the huge armored hulk around and dropping him to the floor of the transit terminal. "First squad, move up. Second squad, secure those guards. I want a medic on the bleeder." Marines sprinted from the transit car with inhuman speed, augmented by their powered suits. 13 of them slid to a stop at the transit exit, covering the corridor that led to the inner ring proper, while another group moved to restrain the Kurthans that had been stunned. while two Marines with a red cross painted on the shoulder plates of their armor kneeled in front of the armored curtain, administering some sort of expanding foam to what remained of the curtain's shoulder and upper arm. "Let's move." The Marine captain ushered the rest of the squad out of the transit car and through the dense clouds of nano glitter. "Hold your breath, Nuria," Woods advised the Bonthan, bringing up the rear. "This stuff gets everywhere, but it's murder on your lungs." Nesh jogged along with the Marines and Dreden before stopping with the rest, hearts pounding in his chest. Even though the flechettes were designed for soft targets and were harmless against armor, he still decided that getting shot at was an experience he could go without repeating. Wait a minute. Nuria wasn't wearing armor. Nesh turned back to the huge Bonthan in alarm. "Medic. We need a medic." Nuria's carapace had two flechettes deeply embedded into her exoskeleton. "It's nothing, Ambassador Nesh." Nuria waved away a Marine medic that rushed over and pulled one of the flechettes out with a grasping hoof. "It will take more than a couple of needles to hurt a Bonthan, and they will leave some excellent battle scars." Nesh supposed to a creature 4 times his height, the half-centimeter wide spikes may look like a needle. But they looked plenty deadly to him as Nuria removed the second spike, tossing it dismissively to the floor. "You're a lot like Baden, you know. You're both completely crazy." Nesh glanced at the countdown on his holo tablet. 6 minutes, Captain." The Marine captain nodded down at him. "First squad, hold the transit terminal. Second squad, move to the Bonthan embassy main entrance and make some noise. Once you meet any serious resistance, fall back to the transit terminal. The rest of you, with me. Double time." Nesh was no tactician, but he thought he understood Captain Gupta's logic. With Nesh's tactical team controlling the transit tubes, assemblage reinforcements in the central hub could not reach the inner ring. Meanwhile, if some of the Marines could draw the Bonthan embassy's internal security to the entrance, it would mean less chance of running into them when the main group blew their way into the back of the Bonthan embassy complex. The group raced down the corridors of the inner hub. Individuals from a myriad of different species screamed and ran when they saw their heavily armed group running toward them, while an Arkan diplomat simply stopped in place and withdrew completely within its own shell. Even in Nesh's powered armor, he began to breathe heavily. Nuria was having no trouble keeping up, barreling down the hallway on all 6 hooves. The author's name and the link to original text is in the description. Consider tapping the thumbs up and pressing the subscribe button if you enjoyed this video.